Top 114 Hippocrates quotes. Cure sometimes, treat often, comfort always. Wherever the art of medicine is loved, there is also a love of humanity. The greatest medicine of all is teaching people how not to need it. If you are not your own doctor, you are a fool. Walking is a man's best medicine. Let your food be your medicine, and your medicine be your food. The physician treats, but nature heals. Sport is a preserver of health. He who wishes to be a surgeon should go to war. It's far more important to know what person the disease has than what disease the person has. The way to health is to have an aromatic bath and a scented massage every day. Look well to the spine for the cause of disease. All disease starts in the gut. A wise man ought to realize that health is his most valuable possession. The natural healing force within each one of us is the greatest force in getting well. Nature itself is the best physician. The art is long, life is short. Healing in a matter of time, but it is sometimes also a matter of opportunity. Make a habit of two things: to help, or at least to do no harm. Divine is the task to relieve pain. War is the only proper school of the surgeon. If someone wishes for good health, one must first ask oneself if he is ready to do away with the reasons for his illness. Only then is it possible to help him. Our food should be our medicine, and our medicine should be our food. Illnesses do not come upon us out of the blue. They are developed from small daily sins against nature. When enough sins have accumulated, illnesses will suddenly appear. Anyone wishing to study medicine must master the art of massage. Leave your drugs in the chemist's pot if you can heal the patient with food. Natural forces within us are the true healers of disease. When in sickness, look to the spine first. Men ought to know that from the brain, and from the brain only, arise our pleasures, joy, laughter and jests, as well as our sorrows, pains, griefs, and tears. The wise man should consider that health is the greatest of human blessings. Let food be your medicine. Whenever a doctor cannot do good, he must be kept from doing harm. Before you heal someone, ask him if he's willing to give up the things that make him sick. Science is the father of knowledge, but opinion breeds ignorance. Foolish the doctor who despises the knowledge acquired by the ancients. To do nothing is sometimes a good remedy. Just as food causes chronic disease, it can be the most powerful cure. If we could give every individual the right amount of nourishment and exercise, not too little and not too much, we would have found the safest way to health. The soul is the same in all living creatures, although the body of each is different. Men think epilepsy divine, merely because they do not understand it. We will one day understand what causes it, and then cease to call it divine. And so it is with everything in the universe. He who does not understand astrology is not a doctor but a fool. Everything in excess is opposed to nature. Life is short, art long, opportunity fleeting, experiment uncertain, and judgment difficult. There are in fact two things, science and opinion. The former begets knowledge, the latter ignorance. Health is the greatest of human blessings. A physician without a knowledge of astrology has no right to call himself a physician. Life is short, and the art long, the occasion fleeting, experience fallacious, and judgment difficult. The physician must not only be prepared to do what is right himself, but also to make the patient, the attendants, and externals cooperate. The function of protecting and developing health must rank even above that of restoring it when it is impaired. Even when all is known, the care of a man is not yet complete, because eating alone will not keep a man well, he must also take exercise. For food and exercise, while possessing opposite qualities, yet work together to produce health. Many admire, few know. Some patients, though conscious that their condition is perilous, recover their health simply through their contentment with the goodness of the physician. The life so short, the craft so long to learn. Silence is not only never thirsty, but also never brings pain or sorrow. Those diseases which medicines do not cure, iron cures; those which iron cannot cure, fire cures; and those which fire cannot cure, are to be reckoned wholly incurable. Primum non nocere. For extreme diseases, extreme methods of cure, as to restriction, are most suitable. Rest as soon as there is pain. That which is used, develops. That which is not used wastes away. Get knowledge of the spine, for this is the requisite for many diseases. Wine is an appropriate article for mankind, both for the healthy body and for the ailing man. There are, in effect, two things: to know and to believe one knows. To know is science, to believe one knows is ignorance. The patient must combat the disease along with the physician. Sleep and watchfulness, both of them, when immoderate, constitute disease. It's more important to know what sort of person has a disease than to know what sort of disease a person has. Whoever wishes to investigate medicine should proceed thus. In the first place, consider the seasons of the year and what effect each of them produces. Extreme remedies are very appropriate for extreme diseases. Prayer indeed is good, but while calling on the gods a man should himself lend a hand. Each of the substances of a man's diet acts upon his body and changes it in some way, and upon these changes his whole life depends. The human soul develops up to the time of death. Time is that wherein there is opportunity, and opportunity is that wherein there is no great time. In all abundance there is lack. Medicine is of all the arts the most noble, but, owing to the ignorance of those who practice it, and of those who, inconsiderately, form a judgment of them, it is at present behind all the arts. What I may see or hear in the course of the treatment, or even outside of the treatment in regard to the life of men, which on no account one must spread abroad, I will keep to myself, holding such things shameful to be spoken about. An insolent reply from a polite person is a bad sign. What medicines do not heal, the lance will; what the lance does not heal, fire will. The chief virtue that language can have is clearness, and nothing detracts from it so much as the use of unfamiliar words. A physician who is a lover of wisdom is the equal to a god. Physicians are many in title but very few in reality. The dignity of a physician requires that he should look healthy, and as plump as nature intended him to be, for the common crowd consider those who are not of this excellent bodily condition to be unable to take care of themselves. Old people have fewer diseases than the young, but their diseases never leave them. There is one common flow, one common breathing, all things are in sympathy. From nothing else but the brain come joys, delights, laughter and sports, and sorrows, griefs, despondency, and lamentations. And he will manage the cure best who has foreseen what is to happen from the present state of matters. We must turn to nature itself, to the observations of the body in health and in disease, to learn the truth. I will give no deadly medicine to anyone if asked, nor suggest any such counsel, and in like manner I will not give to a woman a pessary to produce abortion. The art has three factors: the disease, the patient, the physician. The physician is the servant of the art. The patient must cooperate with the physician in combating the disease. Whoever is to acquire a competent knowledge of medicine ought to be possessed of the following advantages: a natural disposition, instruction, a favorable place for the study, early tuition, love of labor, leisure. Eunuchs do not take the gout, nor become bald. The forms of diseases are many and the healing of them is manifold. Of several remedies, the physician should choose the least sensational. About medications that are drunk or applied to wounds, it is worth learning from everyone, for people do not discover these by reasoning but by chance, and experts not more than laymen. The brain of man, like that of all animals, is double, being parted down its center by a thin membrane. For this reason pain is not always felt in the same part of the head, but sometimes on one side, sometimes on the other, and occasionally all over. Where prayer, amulets and incantations work, it is only a manifestation of the patient's belief. It is better to be full of drink than full of food. When doing everything according to indications, although things may not turn out agreeably to indication, we should not change to another while the original appearances remain. A sensible man ought to think about that well-being is the best of human blessings, and find out how by his personal thought to derive profit from his sicknesses. Look to the seasons when choosing your cures. When sleep puts an end to delirium, it is a good symptom. The chief virtue that language can have is clarity. Sometimes give your services for nothing. Wherefore the heart and the diaphragm are particularly sensitive. They have nothing to do, however, with the operations of the understanding, but of all these the brain is the cause.